How's it going, friends? I got a little bit of a cold, but we're going to push through because sometimes we can do that. But there's a balance to it, and that's what this video is going to be about. Is actually, yes, pushing through, but also admitting that we're sick. I know growing up for me, when I was sick, I felt like I wasn't doing well, I was a little under the weather. I wouldn't really want to admit that, right? I would just push through regardless, right? Like that's just what I grew up with. And I think a lot of men relate to that. And if that is you, you're not alone. For me, it's actually new to admit to being sick, right? And then sharing that like with my partner, who is very kind, right? And understanding, but like I have to then give that to myself, right? For some reason, I am wired to think when I admit to being sick and not feeling well, that it like leads to me being weak and it's just gonna make me not be optimal, which is funny because yes, I'm already not optimal. I am sick, right? Like that's what happens when we're sick. But it's like a suppression, right? Of that feeling, right? Feeling sick. So it's like I push it down, I suppress it. I don't want to admit it. And in that, you're like bearing down and holding an energy, right? And I get it. Sometimes when you want to get some stuff done, you have to just push through. You really do. And it's been very effective, right? For a lot of us men to just push through and go get stuff done. I'm walking away from the stove because I got some ground turkey cooking over there. But like for me, I wasn't going to make this video. Like my nostrils are all sore from all the tissue and, snot coming out. I'm blowing my nose so much, but I'm pushing through to make this video. And the ironic thing is I'm pushing through to admit that I'm sick, right? And in this, I'm practicing, right? Admitting to myself. I know that's all ramble, but what it comes down to, friends, is as a man, there's going to be moments where you have to admit that you're not doing okay. You have to. And in that, you're going to unlock a new level of strength. You're going to realize that suppression, it's almost like holding you back from something that is actually already going on. Like if you don't feel well, you already don't feel well. When you admit it, you're releasing some of that pressure, right? It's like a valve, and you know how those things work, right? It's like steam. You move the valve a little bit and the steam just shoots through. You open up the valve a little bit more and it just all comes out, right? And that's what happens to us. When we suppress our emotions, we don't want to admit that we're not doing well, whatever it is. We don't want to cry. We're just bottling up all that pressure, right? And then it pops up in maybe being angry, being frustrated, irritable. And then all those things go and impact other people, like maybe your partner, right? Someone that you care about in your life. It pops up over there. Now you're irritable and angry at her, right? And that's not okay. Take that frustration out on someone on the road later, like whatever it is, right? On yourself even, right? So over time, we do begin to deteriorate. We go to bad vices, we drink, we don't have good eating habits, we gain weight, we don't go to the gym, we don't take care of ourselves. All those things happen. And for me, friends, I come from the angle of also being a nurse. That's what I am. I'm an RN, right? Go and get yourself checked out medically, right? Don't just act like everything's fine. That's a little random tangent, but just had to throw that piece in there. Go get checked physically, right? Every once in a while, get some blood work done. My point to all of this, friends, is it is helpful to push through. It is. There's going to be moments where you have to. And that's what I really like about like the traditional masculinity, right? Is that push through, that grit. No matter what the situation is, you show up, right? You show up regardless. And that's what I'm trying to do here. At the same time, look at the other side of it, right? When you lean too much into that, it leads to a poor outcome, right? It's probably what you're struggling with. I struggle with that. It's this idea of not being able to open up, not being able to admit that I'm sick, right? And then you have people kind of tiptoeing around you and not really being aware of what's actually going on. And what's actually going on is you just don't feel well, right? But you don't even admit it to yourself. So how are you going to admit it to other people around you, right? And the funny thing is, they already know you're not doing well, but because you're not saying anything, that pressure is just being stuck within you, right? You're not releasing that pressure. And one of the things when you communicate openly with other people is in that communication to them, you get a response. And if it's a positive and healthy response, right? When you say, hey, I'm not doing well. And if it's met with like empathy, right? From your partner, hey, like I could tell you weren't doing well. Thanks for letting me know. I'll make sure to be more sensitive and more caring towards you, whatever the response is. But a healthy response is then going to actually give you some good data to work with. And it's going to make you want to open up even more. And guess what? You can still be that tough guy. You can still have that grit. You can still have that resilience and show up regardless. And you get to share how you're feeling and be open, vulnerable with not feeling well, right? You can do both. And that's the thing, that I'm not wired this way. I don't think of these things. I just think of the one side. It took 2 years of therapy to get me to actually recognize that there's strength in this other side. When you're not doing well, when I'm not doing well, I admit it. I say it out loud and I release a lot of that pressure. So friends, this is me just trying to model that behavior. I hope you guys are doing well. Hope this cold will be gone in a week from now. And as always, friends, this is a journey. Be kind. Give yourself grace, right? It starts with you. It really does. See you guys on the next one.